Present, as well as our engineer and our operator. Let's see, are any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I do.
Oh, I want the time schedule.
What?
I want the time schedule.
If there's no...
Under new business, can I add the Mount Baker silo quote that was received? Even if we don't take any action.
Thank you.
We can.
Or I can do it under my report if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I didn't check that with
Okay.
Brent.
And then I have a change on claims request 526 tonight. The bottom one for $1,025.85. I removed mileage.
025 point.
1025.85.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I have.
Anyone else? Okay, the bills payable then. Claims request form for 5715, the amount of $11,437.63.
So moved.
Pardon?
I move to accept it. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the claims request form.
I just want to ask one question though.
Right now, you know, we can't have discussion.
Is this lease agreement on that printer that we're doing working out?
Yeah, they come up and they do all the maintenance on it. They do all the toner. We don't have to pay for anything. That's included in the monthly fee. So it's a nice little machine for $80 a month.
They take care of the ink, paper, or do we have to take
Not
care
the
of
paper.
Not the paper, but the ink and everything?
Yep, the toner, yeah.
And there hasn't been no negative experiences. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims request form of 5715. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
A.
What?
Aye.
4-1 again. The next claims request form for 52615 in the amount of $4,964.55.
I move to accept.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the claims form request of 52615. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Next, claims request form of 52615 in the amount of the amended amount of $1,025.85.
Make a move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. This will be approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 28th, 2015.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. I guess we don't have any miscellaneous financial reports. Year-to-date expense, this is a review and approve.
Yep, so your first one is for wastewater, and we are currently 33% of the way through the year, and currently we're tracking it between the two, 23%. Any questions on wastewater? And on water, we are tracking about 21%, and again, we're about 20 or 33% of the way through the year. Any questions on water?
Make a motion we approve as what's presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the year-to-date expense. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. The treasurer's report, and this is a review and approval.
Yep, this is from the county, balances back to QuickBooks. Same reports you guys get every month.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? The cash position, and this is a review.
Yes, I don't need approval on this. This is just a cash position as of the end of April for all of our different accounts through Whatcom County.
The petty cash, this will be approval.
Yep, we had Visa charges of $90.24, and then we did a lien release on 1491 Frontier for a total of $162.64.
Approve petty cash, $162.24.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the petty cash report as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And unanimous? This is a review for the collections report.
Yep, that just breaks it down between sewer and late fee, water and late fees, and any type of miscellaneous income and your state pool earnings. And at the bottom, it just gives you a summary by month.
Any comments? Age receivable. This is review also.
Yep, this gives you a breakdown as of April 21st to May 21st. And in April, we processed 26 cards for just over $4,500, which amounted to fees in under 24.
Any comments? The delinquent accounts report. This is also a review.
Is this shrinking, or did you just write smaller?
No, I actually added 2 accounts to it.
Really?
But, and then one got paid off. You'll see towards the bottom, 30077 got paid off. That was a lien that we released. And I've added 2 accounts on them, one being Marble Falls for the water service they have out here. It's locked off. It's in our fence. Nothing I can really do about it. I believe in the future Blair is going to approach you about that property. I don't think I can file a lien on it because I think it's on our easement.
I don't understand. We have a service to the golf course,
Yes.
and what's the deal on that?
It's in our well. It's within our fenced well area over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the fence line. It's shut off. It's not being used. And so that only has a water connection, so he was paying $40 a month. I believe Blair's intention down the road is to ask to either abandon that service and give up that connection for a new home over here, the $1,200. And there's really nothing I can do because it's within our easement, our well area. It's just sitting there. So I don't believe I can file a lien on it. But he has approached me about it, and I said, Blair, you have to take it to the board. I can't do anything about that.
That's an odd situation. Especially if it's inside the fenced area.
Yeah.
So how was he supposed to go hook a hose up to water the lawn?
Well, when we built the fence, it had been abandoned for quite a while, but
Yeah.
before that, there was no problem back when we had.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but
Yeah, it's
like,
been
you know,
abandoned for quite some time.
it'll be interesting.
And that's all I have, and I have one more, hopefully.
I have something. Maybe it'd be a good idea to write Marble Falls a letter
Okay.
and say, do you have a proposal or a suggestion on something to do here? We do it, and just instead of let this sit here. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Maybe if we took, what does the rest of you think?
Well,
I-
he's got $40 a month, but he's not.
It's smart to address it. I mean, Jesus, sitting on our
It's
fence.
$40 every 2 months, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what are we talking about? The fence at the pump?
Yeah.
At the pump house.
Well, number one,
Yeah.
there's the shut off and the meter for the golf course is down there.
Well, the shut off is there, but there's a faucet there too? Or is it just a shut off?
No, it's just a meter box.
There's a meter box.
I guess in theory, he can build a house out there and hook it up to it. No? Is that the theory?
Well, if he was smart, he'd think about the future commercial development out here that he's got sitting there. He's got a connection if he keeps the payment up. But I don't want to spell that out to him, but maybe we ought to say,
Yeah.
why don't you come and let's discuss this?
Guaranteed it's only, what, a 5/8 meter? Or how big of a meter, or, yeah, how much of a meter? This is an ordinary 5/8. It's not no 1 inch or anything like that, or,
Oh, that's a full 2 inch. It was the golf course.
it's a full 2-inch meter.
I believe it's bigger than the rest. I can't remember now. It's been a long time since. I used to get in that box about every day. But it's been a long time ago.
But it's a full
Well,
blown.
it's either each an inch and a half or 2 inch, Robert.
How many RCs will a 2-inch feed comfortably?
Pardon? I didn't hear you, Tom.
You know, I really.
How many connections could be fed comfortably off of a 2-inch? That he wanted to know what I said.
Yeah.
20?
I really think that we need to ask Casaguma's advice on this, because my feeling is, regardless of where the service is, it needs to have a lien on it.
Okay.
And that'll flush Mr. What's his name? Murray out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
So can we'd like permission to ask Casaguma if we could file a lien on the problem, on that.
Do we have any paperwork on that with, other than the account number, any other kind of
It doesn't
paperwork?
take much for us to file a lien, I just want to.
No, I know, but just to make sure that, I mean, was it actually purchased as a 2-inch, or does it actually installed as a?
They never discriminated in those days
I
about
think-
it. It was-
Well, I know, but if he sits there and tries to stick to the 2-inch that he has now,
Well, and that's another disadvantage for him, is to, if he loses the service, then, to repurchase that.
2-inch service.
It's gonna be a lot.
yes.
So
it's
I would
not-
be sitting there saying, I'm hanging on to it, I'll pay the $40 or,
That would be my choice, but.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said. It
You
seems
know.
silly.
yeah. Because that hook that up later on would be quite
But
a
I
bit.
think we could find out with less than a 30-minute phone call to Casaguma.
I'd be interested to check and see just how big that is out there.
I've never experienced this before, so
Neither one.
I think it would be.
If I remember, but it's bigger than a residential connection. I know that.
Yeah, well, maybe if you get a chance.
We used to water the whole
look at
golf
it,
course with it.
See what size.
Yeah, we can find out the service size really
Yeah.
quickly, but I'm just not sure about
How to approach it. I give motion
leaning
to
properly. I think we can, but
wastewater services to contact the attorney to talk about this.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to contact the attorney over the connection 30096 on the golf course. And Brenda, would you do that, please?
Yeah, once we get the meter size in, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Whatever. it is.
yeah, meter size is not.
Finish going through the motions of the vote.
Yeah, I think there might be an address attached to it. I don't know if it's a good address, but
Well, it's something.
it's,
You just need the property ID, don't you?
but
It's been moved and seconded, and we've had the discussion,
Yep.
so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. There's no public, so we'll move right on to the water and wastewater report. Kelly?
This is for April of 2015. Our water consumption is down by about 15%. Well levels are normal. You can see that you were handed tonight an estimate on making those improvements at the water tank. There may be some additional electrical work, so if you go ahead.
Are we going to be ever be doing anything about the float problem that we have out there? The tank balancing out.
I believe we adjusted the floats that rectified that problem.
So we don't have to do the Kentucky windage anymore.
I'm not sure what Kentucky windage is, but
Well, they had to shut one pump lower down to compensate with the other pump.
I believe we corrected the problem, but I would have to double check on that. But this is more repairing some ladders and getting some vents corrected, so that we can access the tanks properly. And what I would ask you to do is to approve a budget of $10,000, not to exceed $10,000, because there may be some additional electrical work that's not reflected in this.
Well, I'd also like to add fencing into it up there. Whether or not they can get into the tanks is purely ridiculous to even for me to even consider. But the problem with it is there's nobody up there, and they can get away with just about anything they want to.
We'll have to call in to fencing companies to get estimates for that.
But while we're doing the improvements on it, it should be done all in one time.
Well, it's completely separate companies, Tom. But we'll be happy to call the fencing people and get them up there and get estimates to you by next month. That's easily done.
Drill holes carefully.
Okay, well, and the other thing that everybody should be aware of, we're not dealing with the same owner either. That easement is on Gordy Iverson, the Iverson Tree Farm. So we'd have to contact Gordy and let him know what we were planning on doing with the easement there. I'm not sure exactly how it's defined even.
As far as what? Contact them for
The
what?
tanks. The tanks are not on the Marble Falls property, they're on another property.
Gotcha.
We have a defined easement there, don't we?
Yes, I think we do. It's
So a defined easement, contact them for what?
to let him
About
know
the
what
fencing.
we're doing, that's all
Fencing.
courtesy.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't even approved any fencing.
No.
yet.
No, but I
Well,
said
that'll
if
be
you
part of
do
our
anything,
research.
point out, I just wanted to point out, Richard, there's two
Yeah,
owners.
okay, I got it.
Well, this is far less than I expected, so I'd be willing to make a proposal that we go forward with the tank work as itemized in the area of the quote at the present time is $7,415. I would entertain the operator's suggestion and authorize $10,000 towards this project. That's my motion.
And this here bid does not include tax.
Yeah, you're right, no,
Okay, so it just went up about,
$1,000.
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, no tax.
I'm
Well,
still
600.
happy with that number, that 10,000.
Okay, it's still good. No, I think this number here looks very reasonable.
Yeah,
Very reasonable.
it's been moved.
Okay, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the work on the tanks in an amount not to exceed $10,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Okay, on wastewater, treatment plant is running well. I've had a couple of, again, this report is for April. There's been a couple emergencies in May that I'll talk with you about. Right now our flows are down by about 12%. We did have a call out at the Green Valley lift station for an overflow. I believe it was not last weekend, but the previous weekend. It came out and found that the float had been hung up and was stuck down, and so it didn't. It screwed up the operation of the system, and he corrected that, cleaned up the mess, and then also we had an aerator go out in one of the lagoons, and that motor is down at Mac and Mac being assessed for either replacement or rebuild. So I don't have an
Say
answer.
motor or pump?
Motor.
Motor.
I saw the estimate on a standby aerator was something around, I think he had it in his truck the other day. Because I suggested, why don't we get another aerator to keep at the plant so if something goes down, because he gets real stinky around that plant.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be down long enough, Tom, for it to be an odor problem, but I think we'll probably have this.
Come on over, we'll have some chocolate cake.
But I'm sure I'd be happy to get a quote. I don't know if did Ken say he had a quote for a new aerator?
He had it on the truck seat.
He did put some, like, pamphlets.
Ken was sick today, so we really didn't have a chance
Yeah,
to.
he did put some pamphlets on my desk, but I didn't really know.
I think you're looking at probably $20,000 for a backup aerator.
Well, I say, isn't this motor kind of like this?
Yeah, they're about like they're.
Yeah, bigger than a basketball.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a rewind and a motor, but still it'll be
It's bigger
a
than
lot
that water
less
bottle
than having
there.
a brand new one.
What does a
Yeah.
motor cost?
It probably is a couple $1,000.
Yeah, so why don't we have extra one of those? I mean, the analogy is if my alternator goes out, I don't go buy a new car, I buy a new alternator.
Yeah, but just the motor itself is how much?
Couple
So
thousand.
that-
Couple thousand.
Oh,
And
couple
it wouldn't
thousand,
make any
okay.
difference because eventually, like Richard says, we're going to need it sooner or later.
Yeah, I'll look into that and get you prices for a new motor that we keep on in stock.
Yeah, then I just put the new motor on there
New
and
motor
put
in, it's not
put
shut
the old
down
one
for
on
a
the
week.
Well,
storage shelf.
that's right now it's in for evaluation. And we either rebuild or replace depending on the cost.
Right.
And so let me get that and I'll email that out to you guys for some decision on that.
Yeah, you guys have that on in your comp plan for 2015. Install a new floating surface aerator.
Right on schedule.
Just
We're
saying.
doing it.
And what was the amount? I don't have it.
18,000. Estimated 18,000.
18,000. Because there's a pump involved in those aerators also.
No, there's a gearbox.
Well, a gearbox and all that,
But we're just talking the motor here on this here area.
That's all we're
okay.
talking about right
Right. The whole aerator would be about $15,000 to $20,000.
now. 18 is what they're
18,000.
estimating,
Yeah.
And believe me, a guy just can't pick up the aerator and throw it in the.
No.
Just can't grab it out of the boat.
No, it's a crane job, and so, or it's a lot of work. So let me get through getting this back operational, and then I'll have some numbers for you at the next meeting as far as how we can have a redundant situation. Okay.
Okay. That was it.
Is that all you have?
Yeah, I think that's it. Did you have something?
Well, I wanted you to let them know about the drain bill.
Well, yes, our NPDES permit requires that we do a drain field evaluation. Again, we did one in 2012, and Mr. Henderson is requiring that we do that again. So Water and Wastewater Services is certified in Washington County to do that, and so we're making, we have until July.
July,
Yeah, so our Ken is certified for that, and also Mike is, and so more than likely Mike will come up and do that work. But we do have to have it inspected and get it into the Department of Ecology before July. So,
And that amount?
It was about,
under $500. No.
no, in
Go ahead.
2012 it was $1,350.
Oh, wow.
So $1,400.
Bargain.
See.
I don't know.
No, seriously, I mean, we need to.
Yeah.
We have to do it. There's no
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
So that's being scheduled right now. And then just going back to water, our right now we're running at about 14% water loss.
Overall,
It's a little higher than we'd like.
8%. 8%.
Well, yeah,
Year to date.
8% for the month, 14 year to date.
Yeah, so we're coming down, but we had a couple of leaks in the early part of the year that
Yeah.
got it up. But we want to be 8% is nothing to be ashamed of. So that's all I have.
Thank you. The rate study, unfinished business.
I have a proposal, not dealing with the rate study, but what we had talked about last week regarding annual cost of living raises for the district. And I propose that we have a resolution that states in it that on the 1st of January of every year, the rates are increased by 3%, and the conditions in it are that the board must unanimously approve it, and we can either raise it or lower it, or not charge any at all. It's the board's decision, and I think the reason that we should probably establish something like this, then it becomes the operating policy of the district. That once a year we're going to review our rates, and we, by our policy, can and will raise them if we need to.
So you're talking
3% a year.
of water and wastewater, or just
No.
water? Water.
Well, I was going to ask about that because I know they have to be independent as far as.
But you can still raise them the same amount.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
So then we raise like
I think it's very progressive of you to do that, Tom.
Well, sooner or later we're going to have to raise the rates, and I'd just assume that our board get it
The
established.
public
So
will accept it a lot better like that.
This year they didn't raise it. The next year you went 3%. Next year they don't. Next year you do. Fair enough.
Well, my thought would be,
I to vote no too.
Right.
I think it's not a bad idea.
what are
but
your
I would-
thoughts on it?
Absolutely not. I mean, why do I need a resolution to that? We can do that on our own. And, you know, if you sit down 3%, and I know he's been hounding rate increase, I mean, we're already 20% had to budget at 33% through the year. We're way below. We can raise it 60 cents, which is $2,000 a year. And the only time you're going to need $2,000 applied per year when you hear this catastrophic event, well, $2,000 a year ain't going to help at all towards a catastrophic event.
From how I understood it, it was 3% this year, 3% the following year, 3% the following year.
But we don't.
So that 2,000 this year
Would get you an
generates
extra 10.
4,000 in 2 years. 6,000, correct?
if
No.
it's approved.
If it's
And the reason I don't necessarily like to have a lot of resolutions we don't need either, but if that is a policy of the district to do that, an operating policy, then we don't have to hem and haw around and one or two people be the bad guy by making the motion to raise the rates.
I don't understand that.
Because-
have one or two bad people. If it's part of the business, you just say it. I want to raise the
Well,
rates 3%.
you know, there
for
are
these
some-
reasons.
There are some things we do for legal reasons,
this is
not
not
just
legal.
to clog up the system with another resolution. But I've been preaching that 3% increase for 5 years or more. And, you know, I got to pay it too, just like everybody else here has to, except from these guys. But the problem with it is like the object of a resolution is not what I've seen some do. But on the other hand, it establishes written policy for the district, and we're protected then. We can raise the rates, you know, and then it's not going to be any surprise to anybody. And you know, I'm not saying we even need a rate increase right now, but I think we should establish a policy that permits us to do it.
I don't know. Okay. Look, I don't understand why you think you need a resolution that permits you to do it. You can raise the rates right here tonight, just by doing it. Say, I want to raise the rates 3%. Do I make a motion? I need a second and 3 votes, and it's done. I don't need no resolution that says we got to visit. You can vote yes, no, maybe. Just do it.
Well, since we're talking about rate study, let me throw something out here for a minute. I probably should move over a chair when I throw this proposal out there. And you let me finish.
This has got steel in it.
You know, the rates, okay, you want to go 3%, whatever, but I think that I personally would look at the usage. Now, the usage being not a 500, not 1,000, up to 10,000 gallons a month. A low extra for the extra 10,000 gallons. Let's say an extra $2. After 20,000 gallons, now let's crank that up to maybe $5 or $6. I don't want to see us do a low gallons because a lot of people have nice yards around here. And my neighbor. And we have them because we're able to use the water. And I don't want to punish them for using the water to have a nice sprinkler on their yard or keeping their car clean. But I do want to make them think a little bit about, before they go to bed, oh, I forgot to turn the sprinkler off. Oh, the hell with it, I'll do it tomorrow morning.
Correct.
Or they're washing their car and they throw the garden hose in the ground with no nozzle on it and just let it run. It's not to punish the people, it's just to maybe make them think a little bit on their usage. If they knock down their usage, we've knocked down the power that's used to produce it, is one of the things that we hear, everything it generates. But I like to see a good slap on the hand for the people that use 50, 60,000 gallons, because they're the ones that aren't fixing their leaks. But at the same time, if a person comes in here and says, God, sorry, I had a leak, I didn't know it. I'd like to see us at least grant one grace period for a person that come in here and said, I had a leak, I got it fixed, and give them that, okay, we're not going to charge you that extra for that. And do that for a ratepayer every 3 years or something like that. In the event he has another leak in 4 years, he gets a chance to come in here and look at the board and say, I had a leak, I fixed it. That's what we want out of the people, is it not? We want them to fix their leak. And if they ain't got to pay a high bill, they ain't going to fix it. And I'm not saying 10,000, 20, any kind of gallons, but just to get the people to think a little bit more about how they're using the water. That's all.
I would certainly just like to see that avenue before we're going to raise the rates just because we passed a date on the calendar. I've never been a fan of that. I don't like it. If you can't justify a raise for a reason other than I passed January 1st, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I don't care if you like it or not, whatever. That's the way I feel about it.
I don't make decisions.
You know,
And I looked at these rates, and these, and I mean, you gave us a good statistic here, and I looked at some other people, my neighbor being one, because he's always watering his yard. He's always, I mean, it's a nice yard.
Next door to my house.
Exactly. Tom has a nice yard. He uses water for it. In the wintertime, these people don't use that much water. In the summertime, you guys do. You know, maybe 20, 22,000 gallons. I'm not trying to punish, but trying to make people think a little bit. That's all.
Well, then we get back to a point where my problem with doing it that way is this. There are families up here with 5 people in the house. They obviously, by just necessity, are going to use twice the water that you and your wife do, or
10,000 gallons, so
Yeah.
then bump it up to 15,000 gallons.
Yeah, but you did set a figure that was reasonable.
Well, I'm just throwing those numbers out there.
Okay.
And then the
10,000
reason,
a month or a billing cycle? A month.
a month.
That's
month.
20,000.
That's 20,000 gallons.
You know, and if you're looking at what, Roger had given us, there's 19 people out there that use over 10,000 on the average. Is that correct? This is an average on your water usage throughout the year?
Did I give that to you?
Well, we had a chart. This chart right here.
Okay. Sorry, I had it written down in pencil. Yeah.
So you got 19 people.
19 people. And, you're using, 10,000. And this is average.
And that's that's gallons per day.
That's gallons, gallon, and that's per month,
A
right?
month, yeah, 10,000 gallons a month.
Usage per
And that would be of around 10,000 gallons.
10,000,
Right,
6,000.
yeah.
Now you got some that are using, 12,000. There's 10 of those, then 8, then 3. The number gets less. So the majority of the people are using under 10,000 gallons a month, average.
Yeah, your average is 183 gallons a day.
But if you look at the numbers that I just did all the math.
183 times 30.
well, just times 10.
It's
It's,
about 5,500
But
gallons.
Yeah, 5,500 gallons a month.
Yeah. Now, if you,
Yeah,
in math speak here, if you go one standard deviation on either side of that, it's 325 gallons a day. So basically, somewhere around that 350 range is the people above 350 gallons a day are the ones that are, probably well above the average. What's going on in the district?
and I'm,
And
okay.
that's not 10,000 gallons.
well,
10,000.
there's the other things that we need to consider too. I actually, even though we have no problem with water and we got plenty of it, with looking at what Inslee's doing throughout the state and with all this water rationing and stuff, sooner or later I think the state's going to try and force the smaller districts to do something for conservation.
Well, this is a step.
That's always a
Yeah.
good conservation measure.
And I think high usage, low amount, but as soon as you start getting up there in those gallons, you got to crank it up, wake these people up a little bit.
Okay, so Roger's saying 300 and some gallons a day.
And if I may for a quick second here, Tom, to interrupt. How many gallons a day average does a person use? Isn't it like 50?
182.
182
Per
per
house.
person? Per house.
Per house.
Per house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got to base it on.
Right, okay.
So that, most places, when they give you an allotment, it's generally around that. It's around 6,000 gallons a month.
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I started doing my own conservation, and I don't think I'm going to exceed too much over what the average is, because we put everything on drip systems. But you have people up here that, just like Richard said, they leave their hose running out in the street and just running down the street.
Or leave the sprinkler on overnight, or...
So how many people are using the 182?
You have, okay, out of 300 and, what, 60 count? You've got 220 that use less than the average. And you've got 128 that use more than the average, roughly.
So 50
So
over
about
50%.
two-thirds of the district uses 183 gallons per day or less.
So
And
you consider
one-third
it 6,000 gallons a month and still...
And start building.
But that's averaged. That's on the average.
That's
So
average. So
throughout the 1 year...
Summertime, yeah, for 3 years of record, the average, and that's full calendar years, January to December, so that's
Right.
3 years of data.
So the person is going to use...
Summertime use is going to be higher than that.
That's correct. That's why I'm going to the 10,000.
Right.
Because summertime, you water in your yard, but it's, washing cars more, just everything. And swimming pools and hot tubs. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, would anybody entertain a rollover thing?
I don't think my system can do that.
I think that's going to be too complicated. And then I'm not saying the gallons, and then we just got to set a price on,
Well, I could do
what's it cost to make people think, and what does it cost to make people, oh crap, I better do something to fix that leak.
Well, see, I've always felt that you have somebody that has an excessive leak, you go out and warn them. If by the next month they don't do something about it, we just go pop the meter.
But we can't. We don't have a resolution for that.
Well, anybody that would fight us over
if
that.
you sit there, what's an excessive
That's
amount?
why I say resolutions.
Well, I know, but
But
at what point is excess to pull his meter to say that he has a leak?
100,000 gallons.
We've approached it from the other standpoint of defining. You put a definite definition on it, Robert. It's 10,000 gallons, for instance.
Well, yeah, and
But
my reasoning is
that's
because
still,
what I have here.
So
if you're above that,
10,000
you're gonna,
gallons or more, just roughing through this real quick, there's 25 people.
Yeah.
10,000 or more.
Well, on the average over the last 3 years...
What they
On
actually,
the average, we have 19.
yeah, what they actually use is 25.
Okay, well, you
You're
see,
talking to 25 people this month.
do you see mine
Huh?
on there?
What is
You're probably a little bit higher today.
482 sprayed.
yeah, it's right up front. It's
He's like
one of the first ones. I
1006.
know I'm the first.
What is it?
482 sprayed.
1005. So you're down there. Oh,
482
Oh,
spray.
for
whoops.
some reason your meter never got read.
482.
Uh-oh.
It hasn't got read in 2 months. So you went
But you're right around the
2440,
4,000.
4020, 3700, then it went down to 520, nothing and nothing.
Sorry to tell you, but I looked at last year and the year before that.
No, that isn't
We were pushing
Tom.
almost 20,000 in the summer
That isn't
for
Tom.
3 months. And that was like
That isn't Tom.
July and August.
Yeah.
And that was it.
482
Other than
the
that,
house
shit,
that
you were
the
right back down there with everybody
People
else.
just moved
I'm not
into
going
it.
to see any change.
No, what was her name?
482 is mine.
You set it at 10,000. It's not gonna-
I own lot
Yeah, I'm just
47
trying
and 48.
to. You see what I'm trying to not just punish, but
But one theory is you could
482
implement
spray
it
is
where it has very little
24,
effect.
4,000, 3,000,
And then later
500,
you can lower it.
0 and 0.
And that gets people
You're right.
used to thinking about, hey,
Okay,
what's the
well.
maximum?
482.
I guess I'm using less than I thought.
I just want people to think. That's all.
But if you look at like Columbia Valley, they charge a base rate up to 4,000 gallons a month, and then they start
Oh,
consumption. rate.
yeah, and they've got 3 different levels, and it used to be
Yeah.
500
Just
gallons.
increased January.
Oh, they increased it?
I asked you, please don't use theirs, because as far as I'm concerned, theirs is a joke.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying. Water District 7 is about 5,000 gallons. Water District 2, well, they charge a consumption rate regardless, right from the get-go. Lake Whatcom, they start charging a consumption rate at about 5,000. Blaine, it starts charging the consumption rate at about 2,300. Ferndale, they charge, well, they start right off the bat at 100 cubic feet, so that's about 750 gallons. But it goes all the way up to 15,000 before they bump you to the next one. I see Bellingham, that matters if you're inside or outside of the city, but they charge you right off the bat per cubic foot that you use it. And Linden charges, yeah, they start off right off the bat too. The first block increase occurs at about 4,000 gallons. So you're looking at, most places are looking at 4,000 or 5,000 gallons before they start bumping up.
But during the summertime, I don't want to punish the people for having a nice yard.
Sure.
And that's
Something to consider.
So that's, you're saying we have to consider that and work that out.
No, what we
don't
should do.
have to consider it, but I think, you know,
Well, it makes sense.
when 19 was doing this, I remember hearing some things back then, and that was one of the complaints of people was, you know, I have a nice yard, what am I going to do now? I got to pay for it, you
I have
know.
the same thing. I mean, I
Yeah,
probably could run
exactly.
mine at 10,000 gallons from.
Or we
so
could have
4,000.
seasonal. We could have a seasonal
You can
thing.
have, yeah, you could do a seasonal.
Where you get where the months of May, June, July, and August, you get 10,000, but then starting in September, it drops down to 6,000.
You could actually figure that out, couldn't you, Rob?
Yeah, I've got the data. If you want me to, I'll come back and we can look at just summer months and see what.
How does that sound?
Sounds better than, you know, being.
Just to make the people think of what they're doing. That's all I'm after.
Well, can you ask Roger to come back with a suggested rate?
Oh, absolutely. I'm good with that. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to go with it, but
Base,
Water,
and then,
water, that's what we're talking
that's
about.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the base rate, and then what
Summer rate
you
and-
think might be.
That
And
way.
you've got all the data, right?
Yep.
So we're looking for, with the understanding, I want to get the understanding right, we're looking for a way to go after the high-end users.
Right.
Because the philosophy from this board for the past 8 years has always been, we're not out to milk the people for as much money as we can get, because we can do this. We can make it just like they did.
Oh, absolutely.
$500 and you get 2,000 or 1,000 gallons, and you're going to pay everything after that. Pretty soon we'll be paying $40-something for water, which I'm sure there are some people in here that would love to see that, and that's probably where we should be.
But, you know, I like to see also to where if they exceed the gallons.
We do understand that.
Okay, well, I'm the guy that sits
Sure
in
that we
meetings where
understand that.
when you have to spend $7 million,
But if
people
we-
go ballistic on it.
But if you go past that first allotment, I don't want to slam them with $2.50, $5 or anything. This is enough to have them look at the bill. Oh, went up an extra buck. Some will think about it. That's all.
I've got
And
one
so-
system that does $1.25 for every 100.
Cubic feet.
Yeah, it's
700 gallons. So
I wouldn't think about it if it cost me $1. It wouldn't.
It should be a minimum of a $10 increase.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
If it goes,
Well-
because
you know,
Well,
See what
whatever,
you're
but
saying
the other thing
just
we have
now?
to consider.
a minimum of okay, we get 10,000 during the summer.
No, a minimum of a $10 increase.
I spent more
Yeah,
than
I
$1 for
know.
this.
oh no, I know.
For
Yeah, I'd
Should've
rather
waited
see
till
you
it builds
guys
up.
stay
That's what I
away
would
from
like.
seasonal
Forget
rates.
about this freaking 60
Seasonal.
cents a year. Just I'd rather raise it $5 in every 5 years. Same difference. I mean, if we got to play mind games with the people,
Well,
You're not.
Do.
well, and this is, and I think the bigger game we need to do is get the people to stop and think about what they're using.
That's different than raising the rate, though.
Yeah.
You're talking.
Yes, that is different
So
than
you
the
kinda
month.
mix the conversation.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
I think you're absolutely right, because how many people look at their consumption? You don't. You're not quite sure even where you're at, right? Because it doesn't matter.
That just came
because-
with my life.
But you know, so a lot of people aren't looking at their usage because it's the same
Bill.
dollar amount.
I don't know, some of us.
If your telephone bill goes up $5, you're going to look at it.
If your power bill goes up $5,
You're looking at
you're
it.
looking
And you
at it.
damn well bet when your damn cable bill
Yeah.
has been going up, you sure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
the other point I'd like to say, and we haven't discussed it yet, and that's the reserve.
Right. I can
don't
do
have one for
some
water.
rate analysis,
Well,
but
we
I think the board
We don't.
needs to think about
Well, we need
policies. You know, Tom, you mentioned a 3% increase every year if the board votes for it. You might want to tie that to CPI or something instead of 3%, because if for some, you know, we get into a high inflation area, then a 3% may not be enough. If you're in a low inflation, 3% might be too much. But I also, you know, if I can say, I kind of agree with Richard, is that the board's got the authority to raise the rate or lower the rate every single meeting if they want.
Wow. Yeah, but we're not going to do that.
There are some boards that have a policy that they will raise their rate by the CPI every year, regardless of whether they need the money or not. And, you know, some people have a problem with that, some people don't. But most boards, before they do anything, will have a very good discussion. This is the best discussion this board's ever had on any topic. It really is.
That's because I had 2 cocktails tonight.
But it's also taken us 3 months to get it. We've lost almost half the year.
And I didn't have to move over a chair when I brought that up either.
That's okay, then. This is good. But yeah, there's a question of how much do you want to keep in reserve. There's a question on whether or not you want to have a depreciation fund that would build up over time and what that rate would be. And there's the question of whether or not you need to add or subtract any capital projects. Because, I mean, the one thing you don't want to get into is that, well, we raised the rate, and a ratepayer says, why? Oh, because we could. A lot of people don't like that answer.
No.
I wonder why. I mean, we all pay the rates. Here
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
I hate saying because we passed the date on the calendar. That's why.
Yeah,
I think
that's
because
tough,
of
too.
all of the things that I've been hearing, we're going to get kudos for doing our own excessive use, because we're taking steps to see to it that people are not going to be able to get away with it, and if they do, they're going to pay for it.
And you heard Robert tonight, so when you take a look at
Senior
this,
citizens, though.
Huh?
Not one person has given a thought to senior citizens. They're on a very fixed budget.
well, that's why about what I'm going to reemphasize what he was talking about. You know, this at least from what I understand here, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong. This look that you're going to take is going to address the high-end users. I like 10,000 as a number. That way, it really won't affect the seniors whatsoever. It goes after the people abusing the water. And that is the angle that we're going after here, not how much money we can get out of the people.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can add to that. I mean, when I do the analysis, we can look at like the top 10% high users or something like that, and that may set your number. You know, the other thing is that some districts, cities, counties, whatever, they do senior citizen discounts for different utility rates, and there's an RCW that defines
It allows it, yeah.
who qualifies.
However,
You
there's
can adopt
also
a
in-
policy for that.
Also in that, anybody making less than such and such amount of money per
There's
year.
low income and
So look
yeah.
at our area and see how many people will be in here wanting to
We
relief.
wouldn't have any money in the bank.
No, they'd all be in
Well, we're not
here.
doing this for money.
Yeah.
If we could save,
Are you kidding?
if you got the water cut back to everybody using around 10,000, how much would you save, do you think, on your power and stuff?
Very little.
You don't think you make much different running the pumps?
No, there's not that many.
There's not that many above 10.
above 10,000.
Yeah.
That's
There's
what
only
I'm saying.
20 people.
Look, next month I'll bring you the article I got. It's part of the whoop that I've been at, and you know, I hate to even sit here and say this because it just contradicts everything else I said. Water is a commodity in high demand. We should be getting top dollar for it.
That's right.
Go to
Okay?
California.
And we're not.
Oh, they got lots right now. They're floating down the roads.
The problem is that you'll be faced with huge expenses. If you don't have the money, then you have to go back to the people, and you're not asking them for 3%, you're asking them for 30 and 40%. And then, if you want to see a riot,
But my only
You
problem
wouldn't
with
get
that is if those kind of things
You wouldn't
happen,
get it.
you have to do it.
these little rate increases ain't going to cover it
Senior
anyway.
citizens.
Oh,
California.
Except they'll sit there and say, okay, you've been proactive with trying to get a little bit of money
That's
in
right.
there, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got hit. Sorry, people, we tried. You know, we thought we could build up the revenue, but now we got to hit you hard.
We just came from a project where we spent $7 million,
Yeah.
and the first 10 years of that project life, or that district's life, the commissioners had the attitude of, we're not going to, it felt uncomfortable to raise rates. They still had $3 million in the bank, and that's because the new commissioners started raising the rates on a regular basis to get the money there, but they needed $7 million for their project. The people came in, there was a room full of people, and they said, how come you didn't raise the rates on us a little bit every year. Now we have to pay these huge, their sewer rate alone is $85 a month, and it's going up.
Going up every year.
But we're talking water rates.
Yeah.
I keep bringing
But
it up.
the step changes are what's hurt. That's where the people come out when they get a step change.
Really?
They do. They really do.
I mean, I'm not hip on rate increase either,
I can do
but
the math.
Nobody wants a rate
I don't buy
increase.
into that.
I know.
we've been, you know,
Okay,
So,
well,
I
if
mean,
we,
You know, Tom, to your point, you might want a district policy that says you'll review the rates every July 1st.
well, the only thing it is
just so
if
that-
it's in writing,
Yeah.
I've had to cover my ass my entire life with paper. And that's the way it's gotten along.
I always use paper to take care of my ass.
So the last question I have, to address his reserves,
Preferably soft, you know.
should we be divvying the money up? Or is it fine the way it is, accumulated all into one fund?
You mean between water and wastewater?
We can't.
As long as you account for the differences. Which was it, 78-22 or
75-25 is-
Yeah.
Comfortable with that?
Yeah. I mean, I looked at the numbers and everything, and it is about 75-25.
75-25.
But I mean, if the auditor didn't like the way you did it, they'd tell you.
Yeah, no, we've been fine there, I'm just asking. So,
I
another
don't-
thing
let's
I
not go
would
over
ask
that.
the board to consider for a future meeting is, now that I hear some of the discussion about the future, we've already collected a GFC from this project that we're at, correct?
For sewer
Sewer,
and water.
from the county for this project?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
collected-
We collected on the 2 new houses.
Two, so that's three.
Yeah.
And, we got rid of this line in there that we didn't have anymore. And we got 72 grand. Should we be having a general facility future, whatever you want to name it, or that money, which is specifically supposed to be for that, into an account for that?
Well, that's capital
How much is that?
projects.
Yeah, it goes
$72,000?
Goes into
That's you
capital
come up
projects.
$72,000?
No, we have 72 now in there, and we're
Uh-huh.
going to move some anyway.
Well,
But
the
don't forget,
investment
we just
amount is
transferred
over
30,000, that's not
I know.
reflective on there.
So what is the GFC? 13?
12
12,
for,
24,
12 for
30.
and
sewer.
that's reflective of capital projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
goes into your
the,
capital.
but the ERUs for this building, for instance, was 7.6?
I thought it was 8.
Yeah, it
8?
was
Okay, it
four
was
and a
8.
half and 3.
So you're looking at a rate there at $16,000 was the facilities charge
For
for this
water.
building, for water. At 2,000, I'm just using round figures. The same way with any
But the
commercial
developers
property.
aren't knocking down the door trying to get water services and sewer
Of course, it's
services.
not right now.
Well, no, if you looked
Yeah.
over there, that looks like the ghost town of
Yeah,
Belport over there.
exactly, and it ain't gonna happen for another few
Well, that
years.
district that I just talked about had 500 homes coming.
Well, and what you just said makes the most sense I've heard lately is because the customer's going to say, why in the hell didn't you guys raise it up a couple of dollars, every year? And then,
It is far better to do a little bit every year than it is to do a hit.
Talking 60 cents.
Well, you know
Talking
what?
60 cents a year.
at 3%.
3% for the water.
I just asked you one thing to sit back here and remember. Not too many years ago, we raised the rates $10, and then the following month we raised it another $10. And I don't remember the room being packed with people screaming bloody murder or anything else when I get a drink. So some people out here in
Leave
our
a nickel.
community can do the math and see that it weighs itself out. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. I don't remember getting anything thrown at it.
Where's he going?
Well, it certainly sounds to me like it's going to be a hell of a lot more money and spent to
Oh.
just administer it.
Sorry. And that was a $20 increase.
What, that drink of water?
No, what we did back then.
Yeah, but that wasn't that previous commissioner's BS that got that to happen.
But we did it though. And,
Did it for
know.
one, but we got rid of the other.
and
So,
nobody came screaming
and it's
bloody
helped out
murder.
with the account to where we are today.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, yes, and
Yeah,
we
that got us
are
where
way,
we are
way
today.
ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So,
So if we understand it right, what we've done is said, Roger, come back with this adjusted rate. Is that fair enough?
I'll
Is
take a
everybody-
look at
water.
summer use.
For water.
for water, yes. Yes.
Plus, put together some kind of rate deal. But
You know, I'm a high rate person, so.
There's a infinite number of solutions here, obviously, because, you know, you can raise it, lower it, do all kinds of different things, set the bar for the consumption rate at any number of different gallonages. But in the end, you also have to show that you're either saving the money for something big or you're spending the money on something big. Otherwise, it just looks like you're collecting money.
Well, just tonight we spent $8,000, and then we're talking about,
Well,
you know.
right? Yeah. So just remember, you need to think about capital projects and your policies for, you know, depreciation and any other things that come up or things that you want to do to improve the water system.
All right.
And I have Roger's spreadsheet. If anybody wants it,
Oh, you have it digitally?
yeah, I did get it digitally. So if anybody wants it, just let me know and I'll email it to them.
Did you have a suggested rate?
I didn't know. What I put in here was, because you hadn't raised your rates in such a long period of time, I changed the rate from 20 to 21, and I put a 3% increase in there just so you could see what the numbers would look like. But I wasn't recommending anything.
21 is less than $1 a day for 300 gallons, or 182 gallons. Yeah, I'll fill my bottle before I leave.
Well, if it's so good, then how come he's not building 700 homes?
Also, can you check into those other districts that do give senior citizen
Sure.
breaks, and so we can look at that, if nothing else?
I'll see what they have.
Take a look at that, but
Can you take a look at how many senior citizens are in our area?
yeah, that might be a tough one. But I was going to say the same thing.
Usually, you
No
end up
offense,
going
but
with
if you end up with half the senior citizens and they're getting the breaks, then I'm not there yet. I'm going to pay more.
It's usually defined by how the county defines a senior citizen for taxes.
Right.
So
65 plus 62.
I think it's 65.
And you have to have
Robert, I think as generous as
income
you
level.
sound like you're willing to go, and me too, they're not going to be affected at all.
I don't think they're going to
we can find
have
out.
that kind of usage.
Being one
That's
of
right. They're not going to
affect
be
them.
using it. And if it is, it's a leak, and we're certainly going to give them an opportunity. to
And you got to give them all a break. Anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some districts do it once every calendar or 12 months credit, as long as they get the leak fixed and they know.
Okay.
You get one time in a 12-month
12-month
period. You
period.
have to do it in writing.
Oh, well, that's better than what I just proposed. I
Yeah.
said 2 years.
Yeah.
2 or
Usually
3. Yeah.
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 You're kind of rough
Yeah.
on people.
So when you take a look at this, and I'm sure
Yeah,
we're
and then
going
we-
to
and then we
pay
can-
you a little money for your studies here, but at the end of you, pick out one here, 30,410, and just tell me at the end of your process how much you would have paid under your theory.
Yeah. Fair enough. And what would make that guy think?
Yeah.
So, okay, but he's going to figure it all out. So
Yep.
I don't even know at this time if it's going to be gallonage or.
Well, it's got to be
Cubic-
gallons.
It'll be
Because-
gallons.
Read in gallons,
Gallons,
right?
yes.
So
And my billing
keep it at
system
that.
is in gallons.
Yes.
Yeah, not cubic feet. I had to do all
And I
that
would
math.
really-
Yeah, we had to do that.
Like
Think.
to stay away from seasonal. Really nothing to do.
Good?
No,
Oh.
we're not done.
Oh.
No. Are we through with this discussion?
I am.
I am.
Okay. I have one more thing. That's on the wire update. I had obtained a report that I'm going to make. I was going to bring it tonight for everybody, and it's sitting on my desk. So I will put it in the envelope and I will get it to you guys.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but now that Mr. Brown's retiring, I'd like to start going back to the meetings, and I would like to have it never happen again to where somebody changes something and I drive all the way down there for nothing. So, I mean,
Your time to attend was this month, Tom.
see, I don't even know when the
Okay.
meetings are. Because
Would you get the schedule out to Tom so he knows what it is on the rotation?
This month.
Last month was Tom and you.
June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Then write it down, guys.
Yeah, we'll write it down and send
You
it.
all
yeah, because
deal
when I
with
start
it.
trying to think, all I'm going to see is Richard going like,
Yeah, I think that should be all between the commissioners, not with the staff.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm just not sure.
Well,
why it
that
depends on what
is, somebody's got to
the
put it down, and she can do it.
Right.
Robert.
July.
But any changes, you guys amongst yourselves take care
No,
of the
but
changes.
it's still, it rotates, that's what we
Yeah.
agreed
July,
to
September, October. July, September, October. 3
I'm
times.
even trying to
July,
write.
September,
do. He was
October.
June.
July, September,
Brenda,
October.
Brenda's
No, it
gonna put
isn't.
down on paper.
You and I
That's what I'm telling
And
you.
then if they want to change their time, they deal with it. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
July.
If there's no other day, we'll conclude the meeting.
November.
Conclude the meeting, sorry.
I'm going to
Hey.
second the motion.
Not bad, 1 hour. We'll wait a minute.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Hey, Kelly, you'll get a copy of that report too that I'm giving you. Okay.
Yeah, I got a copy for you at the office.
Roger?